So we're out here next to the camper, and I want to point out that up there is where the awning motor is, and right about there is where the contacts that you see in the previous picture. So connecting a power source up there is all well and good, but you need, a pretty good ladder. I don't carry a ladder with me in my RV, so instead of trying to connect up there, we're going to connect down at the switch inside the cabin, inside the house. Okay, let's look at a drawing of how we're going to be able to move, I should say retract the awning motor. On the right hand side is just a picture of the wiring. You see the awning motor is wired down through the channel to the in and out switch that's inside of the RV. On the left hand side of this you see a schematic view of that, and you see the RV motor connected to the in-out switch from the awning, which in turn is connected to the house battery. All we're going to do is disconnect the motor at the switch and connect it over here to the battery that's in this modified drill. And then you either go forward with the drill trigger or you go reverse with the drill trigger to retract this motor. It's as simple as that. So as I indicated, my solution was for an awning which was wired to a single switch. There are awnings that have a control box, as this picture shows, which makes things quite a bit more complicated. But actually what you need to do is you need to find the motor connection on the controller. And whereas we made connections down on the pins on the switch, basically we pulled the motor pins off the switch and connected to the drill, you're going to do the same thing wherever this connector that shows A, B are connected to the controller. So you're going to unplug that and connect your drill motor, your drill battery, I'm sorry, to that. So just inside of the house, on the left hand side as we go in, is the awning switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull that out and find where the motor connects to this switch and connect our external power source to that to close the awning. Nope, you're not getting on the road like that. So here's a way to, if you will, manually pull in your awning. When I say manually, we're going to use a separate mobile power supply, which I'll show you. So down here, I'm in a Jayco 26Y. Down here or somewhere in your camper you have a switch that controls your awning in and out. For your particular camper you need to figure this out. Probably you should do this ahead of time so that you're prepared. But in this case I know that the motor lead comes in on this and this pin on the switch. This is positive 12 volts, this is ground, and these two are the motor leads. So we're going to disconnect those motor leads and we're going to connect this portable power unit, if you will, a drill which I've modified, and I previously explained that modification. But we're going to use that as a motor to pull this awning in. So hang on a minute and let me connect the motor. So as you can see, I've got these wires that come from the motor unplugged and plugged into the modified drill. So the plus is going to this connection, sorry, and the minus goes to this connection. And what we're going to do now is we're going to turn the motor on with the drill. And first thing we're going to check to see if the motor is, I turned the switch to the battery position. Again, refer to the modifications for this motor that I previously, part of the video, What we're going to do now is pull the trigger. That'll power the motor, and we'll see, first of all, is it going the right direction? Okay, it's going the wrong direction. So I have to swap these two wires, and I'll do that and be right back. You can see I've swapped the leads. Now I have the plus of this, the drill's battery connected to the black, and the minus of the motor connected to the white. Situate these on a piece of tape or something so they don't touch each other. So let's see if I got it going the right direction this time. So as you can see, my motor and now the awning is fully retracted, and I can put this back to the way it belongs, and you can get home and do a repair or whatever you need. Or you may have just simply had a dead 12-volt battery and while your awning was out. So here's the modified Harbor Freight drill. In the previous section, I told you that if you had this drill connected backwards to the switch, you needed to disconnect it and swap the two leads. This switch on the drill has a reversing button, so connect it to the motor, the awning motor, and if it turns the wrong direction, simply flip the switch in the drill and pull the trigger, and the polarity will swap, and therefore you can pull the motor in or pull the motor out depending on which direction you've got this drill set to. So ignore the part about if it's not connected correctly, to disconnect and reconnect, and simply throw the switch to the opposite position and pull the trigger, and the awning will go the opposite direction. I guess one of the nice features of this modified drill. It's a good idea to have a 12-volt source that's available independent of your RV power system, just in case you have some kind of problem. A good example would be your awning. Your awning wiring might have a problem, or maybe you just have a dead battery, and in that case you need some source of 12 volts so that you can pull the awning in by powering its motors. So I've solved this problem by basically taking a Harbor Freight drill. There's the Harbor Freight part, well, I guess that's a serial number. Item number is 69360. And this is a good choice for a couple reasons. One of them is it's a 12-volt lithium, and obviously you need 12 volt for your camper RV. And second of all, it was pretty straightforward to modify. Thirdly, it's a high torque drill, so this can be used to roll up and down your lifts if you need to. And if you have a slide that has a manual override that needs a motor, this also can has enough torque for that. And lastly, it was under $50. So let me explain what I've done. I took the motor, added a switch in series with the motor. It's a single pole double throw switch. So one position it runs the drill motor as normal. In the other position, the trigger operates, or I should say, provides 12 volts to these output wires. So let's see it work. So if I turn this thing to drill, to the drill side, whoops, the drill side, you can see that I had it right to start the first time. This is the drill side of the switch. The center position is off on this particular switch, and the far over position is a 12-volt output. So that does nothing, as you just saw. And this is the drill position, and I'm even marked it here, but didn't pay attention. So now the drill is operating like it would normally operate. And then if I need to get the 12 volts out of the drill, I switch it all the way to the other side. And if you look at the meter up there, it's connected to these two wires that are hanging out. And you see it provides 12 volts with the trigger. So in one mode, runs the drill. In the other mode, it basically gives you access to the 12 volts. So let me sort of explain how this was constructed and pull these leads off. You can see it was pretty simple. I took off this back cover, glued the switch on top with 3 holes, and the switch pins go into the inside. And the what used to connect to the motor was pulled off, and it goes to the center terminal of the switch because it provides 12 volts either that side or this side depending on the position of the switch. And then I wired one side of the switch back to the motor, to the positive side of the motor, and the other I've just got to a pigtail here. So the 12 volts output, when you put the drill in the battery position, it provides 12 volts on these two pigtails. When you put the switch all the way over to drill, it lets you run the drill. In the center, it doesn't do anything simply because that's the only kind of switch I had in the box. These terminals are these spade kind of terminals or fast-ons. You'll notice it has a male and a female on the same terminal, and this is good because sometimes you might have to connect and plug into a female connection, and sometimes you may have to plug into a male connection, and this gives you the choice of doing either one. So how you use this is you connect this into the harness at some point, like for example connect it into the harness that where the motor connects for your awning, and you put this in the battery position and you turn it on. You'll notice the light comes on, and that provides 12 volts, and that you can make the motor go in or out. Obviously the point here is to make it go in, so you hook these up to what used to be what were the motor terminals, and pull the trigger. If it goes the wrong direction, you just swap these two leads and pull the trigger again, and you can roll your awning in. There's lots of potential uses to have 12 volts in case you have wiring problems or 12 volt failure. This drill gives you the option of doing that. I tie these back with this rubber band, just so there's no option to short them out while you're doing something else. A little bit kludgy, but it works. And then this drill is really handy for, like I said, letting up your leveling jacks in case you have a leveling jack that won't go up, or also moving your slides in and out if you have a problem with your slides. So there you go, portable drill, portable 12 volt power source.